if it's part of our nature, of our history, of our culture, is a very useful tool in our work as well. And that is why I believe that we can never learn enough, and we can always become better by having these workshops and webinars. Today, I'm very happy because we have with us a person that likes to wear many different hats. Maybe some of you know him already because we have been cooperating with Carmine Erodi Falanca for quite a few years now for our SIOST training. So we have Carmine, and Carmine is a trainer, is a facilitator, is a storyteller, and a stand-up comedian. So he wears all these different hats. He has experience for many years in the EU programs like the Youth, the Erasmus Plus, but he has also founded some learning communities, some different centers, and he has acted as a stand-up comedian in many different European countries. So hopefully today we'll be able to merge, let's say, learning with entertainment and make use of his humor to be able to learn something more on storytelling. I don't want to keep you long. I felt I already spoke a lot. So Carmine, the floor is yours, and I hope you will enjoy his webinar.
Thank you very much, Aspasia, for the glowing presentation. It's true. I keep saying that I wear many hats because my head gets cold very easily. This is true. I'm living in Prague. Good morning, everyone. And it's nice to see 30 people online already, and we expect more. So I'm allowing people as they come in. Welcome for signing up and showing up to this workshop, which will be interactive as well, but we designed it in the way that you can choose your own participation. This is all about participation, right? So if you want to fully engage and be committed because you think it's fun and useful, we will really appreciate your work until the end and your input. If you'd rather just sit and watch, that's also possible. So it would be like a long podcast session for you. This is all possible. We will have a look at different techniques of storytelling and different tools from contemporary ones to the classic ones. And I have one note before we start. I like to work with people with the cameras on. And the reason is we really love to see your faces. You know, Black Mirror? Black Mirror is a dystopia. We don't like to look into a dark screen. And that's why so many people were traumatized during COVID times, because we spent hours and hours in meetings where we didn't even know if there were humans on the other side. Now I see so many of you turning the camera on. This is so good. It's okay if you need to go for a cup of coffee or to the bathroom. It's really okay. We're all humans. But you see how this is already a lot better? We see you, we see people. Facial expressions, maybe smiles. This is really what makes us human and what we like to share. So great. I will share the first link with you. I collected the resources, and we will collect the resources together on one Padlet. So I will now in the chat, I will now put the link, and we will use it all the time today. So please refer to these every time I say, no, Ivana, I see, I read your message, you don't have a camera. That is not a problem. Everybody, you know, you do you. But if you have a camera and you feel like you want to share, that's great. Now in the chat, you will find the link for a Padlet, and this is where we collect everything that happens today. So I want to start right away by inviting you. I will quickly share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Right away, in the first column about us, you will find the map. So if you click on the map, you will be taken to another Padlet. It's a Padlet in a Padlet, and it's a world map. So you can then click on plus and place a pin on the map where you live, not here. Here. I live in Prague, and that's what I wanted to pin. Prague. And then maybe I add my name. So let's try to do it all together. So we color the map. You can also change your color a little bit. So mine will be yellow. Yo, I see many are fast. Zooming out. Oh, lovely to see so many pins populating the map. So we have a visual outlook or also who we are. I promise you there will be very few jokes today from my side. But if you come to Prague and want to catch a live stand-up comedy show, definitely reach out and let me know. We have a very good stand-up comedy scene in English. So I see we have people from Finland, Denmark, Belgium, on the mountains between Spain and France, or is it Andorra? That is amazing. I'd like to hear more. Malta is with us, Athens, that's Belgrade, Bucharest. Someone else is from Prague. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, hi, I'm from Prague.
Maria, nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Hey, come and watch a show. I have a show Friday night. End of the commercial message. Metro Comedy Club is the comedy club in Prague. I really recommend. So then we have more people coming in. Portugal, Slovenia, no. Yes. At the border with Croatia, but is that Slovenia? Let us know. Bratislava, lovely. Okay, so I'll give you just one more minute. There's a lot of Malta present. I see, I like that. So I will quickly go back to my main. And I will give you just 1 or 2 minutes to finish placing your. You're not from Andorra, you're from Catalonia. Sorry, Ingrid, sorry, I know. No offense intended. Statistically, I could have imagined. So we have also Madrid, and a dot appeared in Poland. Very good. Take a few seconds more, you can always complete. Now, the first part will be about generating stories. I will talk about some theory of storytelling, but that's not the reason why we are here. Mostly we want to learn and share how storytelling can be great for participation and engagement. And if some of you, I know I see Alexandra, hi Alexandra. If some of you are also joining the CEOST meeting later in May, we will go even deeper in this message. That's for national agency officers, communication officers. But the theory will come later. Now I want to start with memes. Everybody's familiar with memes. There is a funny unofficial profile which makes European memes. And I don't know if you want to follow it on social media. It's called DG Meme. I couldn't share any of their memes today because they are quite edgy. I like the work that they do, but they're provocative and edgy. So I thought, okay, maybe that's for later. But I did find my search was for European memes that are somehow related to Europe and democracy. And I found a few, and I will share them now on screen with you. But you see them in the example section. So this is one. When you search what is democracy in China, and it's a Lord of the Rings reference with Saruman who says, so you've chosen death. So this is one meme. This I find also interesting. Hey kids, when you buy democracy with a fire jet coming through your garden, this is a democracy meme. This is a little bit dark, but maybe also necessary. You know, the funeral meme, a funeral of democracy, and the people who didn't vote celebrating. It's perfectly okay not to agree. It's perfectly okay not to like a message. But a meme is supposed to be a little bit sharp, a little bit dark. And then listen up, I asked GPT to create a meme. I don't know if you know, you can now totally ask ChatGPT, can you generate a meme? And it will put together text and images for you. So I asked last night, can you generate a meme about European Union and democracy? And this is what it did. And I was quite puzzled. I was trying to find the meaning. And then I asked GPT, what is the meaning? What do you think is the meaning of this one? And I will really appreciate your answers in the chat. Or you can open your microphone and just speak up. I see many people are actually very actively engaged. So you can also just open a microphone. What does these mean to you? If you feel more comfortable, you can type. Let's see in the chat. DG meme. Oh, yeah, sorry. EU assures democracy, Daniel says. Protection, but bureaucracy as well, says Audrey. Holding on to democracy with European cooperation, Marcus. Thank you very much. Democracy just within EU. Alexander notices that GPT is now good at counting fingers. Exactly, that's true. And there is only one hand represented. So one person, one vote. Thank you, Daniela. This is good. So you see, if we see one picture and we have 20 different interpretations, that's a good message artistically, but I'm not so sure if it's what is my aim is if I want to promote participation. But artistically, this is a very good meme. So I asked GPT, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, the European Union has an ambivalent role. On one hand, it is upholding democracy. On the other hand, it's sometimes stops it with too much bureaucracy. So GPT was able to catch this ambivalence in a meme. And I was really blown away, really blown away. Then I asked, can you make another one, maybe easier, like without so much ambiguity? And this is the second one it created. Nationalism builds walls, Europe builds bridges. With paperwork, yes, but still bridges. Now, this is okay, I guess. It's not so provocative. There's nothing sharp. It's lukewarm, but it's a message, right? So this is meme creation. Memes are supposed to be dark, but when they're too edgy, they turn away people from the message. And if they're too ambivalent, they are good artistic creations, but maybe, again, they turn away people from the message. So now it's your time. I want to invite you to create memes for about 10 minutes. You can use any tool. If you're already familiar with it, you don't need any introduction. You can use Canva if you know. You can use Meme Generator. I will stick the link here in the chat. Meme Generator is a super common tool for generating memes. And just to make sure, yeah, I'm also sharing my next screen so you see Meme Generator. Where is it? Yes, here, sorry, it took me a second. So Meme Generator is super easy. You choose your picture. You can choose the templates that are most famous, or you can just upload any picture that you want and then put text up and down. And I would say, let's really spend 5 minutes. Some of you are super quick and some of you will need more time. You can use GPT. I showed you how generate memes on European Union and democracy. That is the message. So European Union and democracy. Memes. And when you have them, you can put them in the section Our Memes. On Padlet, you have a section that's called Our Memes. And that's really where I'm inviting everybody to put your products. I know this is a strange setting with like so many people connected, and we are also recording this, but feel free to express yourself. We are able to tell if some message is a bit out of the line. We will not judge. So feel free to express yourself. What is your message about European Union and democracy? Place them here. There will also be a space to like and comment, so we can do a little bit of social interaction. And go. 5 minutes. Have fun. All right, so the first ones are coming, and I love it already. So bring more. And memes are a very good tool to also reflect on ambiguity and the contradictions in messages, because we talk a lot about European values, and I'm a big fan. I've been working for 23 years now in European mobility and education. I'm a big fan, but it's hard to promote values when sometimes the actions show the opposite. It is hard. It's a hard job we have. Okay, I'm looking at the time, and I would like to move on with the next section. So right now, there's a chance for everybody. I would love to hear more voices. This is about participation after all. So what do you think of these? And if you want to comment some of the memes, or in general, what are you thinking right now? Memes as a tool to promote participation and values. Open your mic. Would anyone like to talk? Like a radio show. Or if you feel more comfortable for any reason, you can type. And
Well, I can say something.
Yes,
Just one thought. I've done this in the past in youth exchanges, and I would say you can't just leave it like that. You need to discuss it and reflect with the young people. Otherwise, it can create a lot of irritation with some images, at least.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. More comments? Aspasia is asking, are you already using memes in your work? I think what Marcus just said is yes, but especially with younger audiences, you really want to facilitate it and mediate. Anyone else? Oh, some people don't really know what memes are. True. Do we want to try and explain? Do we need to explain to this crowd? No, maybe not. True that. So when we want to be even more inclusive and reach a further audience, we need to start by maybe explaining what the tool is and showing a few examples. And that's the problem with humor. And I speak as a comedian. Humor very easily is misunderstood, taken out of context. People maybe are not listening with attention, so they don't really get the message. Or sometimes the message sucks because you as an author, could be spoken or visual, make a mistake. And so then the tone is misinterpreted, or even the message is being misinterpreted. So Europe is incredibly powerful because it catches attention, but it can backfire spectacularly. And I know you know from your work and from a lot of examples. So it is good to use it, but of course with care. I'm looking at the room. Any comments? Anyone would like to say something at this point? Maybe raise your hand or just open your mic. Seems good. So let's move on into the next section. What we thought today, we thought to bridge from meme generation, which is very modern. There is a Putin meme in the meantime that appeared at the bottom of the section. We thought of bridging from very new, very modern, very quick to something else. And we want to work now showing you a very old, very classic model for storytelling, which is the hero's journey or the monomyth. Now, if I type it down here, the hero's journey. By showing your hand, raising your hand to the camera, are you familiar with the model? Are you familiar with what I'm saying? Maybe just click. Marcus says yes, James yes, Daniela yes. So it is widely known, and maybe for some it's new. You can also show your reaction by clicking on react, and then you can put your thumb up like I'm doing right now on Zoom. This is possible. So this is a very old model of storytelling. First of all, I should say it is not the only, and is not the most powerful at all. Humans have been telling stories since we are humans, and so there are so many forms and models. But some of them have disappeared, some of them are becoming niche, and some of them are prevailing. This one is especially strong because it's being propagated through the Western world, Greek and Roman traditions massively, then the printed press, and now mass media and Hollywood. So this is now, some people say 90% of storytelling in a way or another conform to the model. Advertisement, for example, movies, comics, video games, and much more. I hear Daniel's comment, first time I hear about, very good. So you will now get to know much more. And I want to introduce it to you using a video that is on YouTube. It's open to use by a teacher. We will explore the model through Disney movies, classic Disney movies from the 90s. Now, this comes with controversy because even Disney can be controversial in their approach. We know that, I know that, and it's good to talk about it. Even the model of the monomyth itself is not without controversies. There are many. But right now, I will show you the flow and the main parts, and then we can discuss it further. Keep in mind, this is very effective. It's very effective, and it's the single thread that connects most epic stories you know, from the Gilgamesh myth, which is the oldest written story we have in this part of the world, from Assyrian Sumerian heroes, to Greek and Roman myth, as I said, Dante's journey into Inferno, all the way to contemporary stories like Harry Potter, Star Wars, Hunger Games, and so on. They follow a similar pattern. And an American anthropologist who was called Joseph Campbell wrote the book about it. And the book was called The Hero with 1,000 Faces. 1,000 faces. I will write it here in the chat so you can, in the meantime, research about it and read more. Now, without further ado, let's watch the video. And I will pause it 3 times to comment and give more context and also to hear what you think. But for now, we will start the video. In the mean, if for any reason my connection is weird, your connection may have problems, so maybe you can't really follow the Zoom link, I will also paste the link here in the Zoom chat. So if for any reason my connection doesn't work, you know, or you cannot really get the video, watch it on your own device. The link is here or on the Padlet. You find it in so many ways. So it's not my creation, all credit to the author. Let's watch the hero's journey through Disney.
il nome che c'è la pittura del
Tak,
mercato?
mam tutaj. Jakieś pozostałe
I will pause here for a second just to collect our thoughts and collect the story points. So in the Padlet, by the way, you also see the model, which is this big picture. There are so many links and resources on this, so many books, movies, essays in every possible format, because this is really, really well known. But in case it's the first time, or in case you want to hear from me, this is a very good representation, graphic representation of the model. And it can be divided in quadrants or 12 stages. The first one is the call to adventure. You start the story by describing the ordinary world where everything is okay, but maybe there are problems, maybe simply life is a bit boring. And then the stories start with a call to adventure. Yes, Paula, I read your request. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for helping. Thank you very much. So then there is a call to adventure, which kicks the story in motion. This is also every advertisement you ever watched. Tired of your everyday life? Try these. It works. The call to adventure may be something happy, like a phone call that you just won the lottery and you get $1 million. Or it can be something tragic. We know from classic stories, an accident, someone dies, someone calls you on a journey to the other part of the world. Usually followed with the refusal, which in storytelling is particularly powerful because it's our normal reaction. Whenever we are challenged to go out of our comfort zone, we tend to reject. We tend to say, no, we're not ready, we're not good enough, we didn't sleep well, or someone else will try to stop us. Commonly in Harry Potter, you know, the uncle tries to stop him because he's not a wizard. So it is not easy to get into the adventure, but eventually our heroes do it. There is also many characters that accompany them on the journey, and one famous one is the mentor, which is this old wise person who helps, and it's now common language in European projects even. The mentor is someone with experience that helps, that brings knowledge, wisdom, maybe a special object, so that they help to fulfill the mission. This is extremely important because it represents how knowledge and wisdom is passed from one generation to another. And there is much more to say. And in fact, This can be a 1-day workshop or a 1-week workshop, actually, but we are trying to concentrate the main points into a few points. And then at some point, when they are ready, they cross into the other world. The hero journey always includes an ordinary world and then an extraordinary world. And by extraordinary, it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be splendid. It has to be out of the ordinary, which can also be hard. Going into the other world is hard work, usually. There is new stuff to learn, challenges, laws are different, people speak a different language. Regardless, that's where the adventure really takes place. And now I want to just check if there are any comments so far. Are you following? Does the story resonate with what you know? Yeah, I see some people nodding. So let's go back to the video and we continue with the second part, which is the main, usually it's the main part of the stories. So just a sec. Ready. Go. this is a good moment. This is a good moment to stop, and we continue in a minute. So this was the big part. This usually is the big part of the story where adventures are met. There's danger, there's challenges. There are helpers. The characters meet friends, enemies, and many other interesting characters, including the tricksters. The tricksters are there to show us that things are not easy to understand. They are not black and white. Some people look friendly, but they're not. They have their own intentions, or some people just mess up. And in cultures, in every culture, really, the trickster was worshipped as a hero. There was a god in the Roman pantheon, in the Greek pantheon, in the Scandinavian pantheon. So we were really much more respectful of these creatures, or that they were not so easy to identify. And so I think it's important to keep in mind. And then there's a moment of crisis. Usually in a big story, there's always a moment in the midpoint when things really get bad or dark. There's danger. There is the possibility of defeat and loss. And it can be a scary moment. Of course, age appropriate. If you're using it for audiences, of course, age appropriate, even though it's a very big discussion whether or not stories should be scared, even, for children, because children know fear. Fear is one of human fundamental emotions. We are afraid, and children look outside into the world and they see scary stuff. I live in Prague, and my children have classmates that come from a war zone, Ukraine. So my kids ask me, what is war, Dad? What can happen? Can war happen to Europe? And I'm like, well, Europe is very good actually at making wars happen. So that's what we are trying to stop now. Children know fear. Stories can help us to learn how to deal with fear. So there is a very big discussion there. And then after the crisis, if the crisis is overcome, then there is a moment of reward. And traditional stories have richness, a treasure, a magic item, or maybe love. All these can be possibilities for reward, but really they symbolize personal growth. Now I need to stop for a second and really pause, because this model is incredibly deep. And I'm sure you know, even by just watching Disney movies, you can tell, oh, this is much deeper than a child story. In fact, it is used in psychotherapy and in psychoanalysis. And Joseph Campbell, who wrote the book, was a scholar of Carl Gustav Jung. So he was really deep into the psychology of the unconscious and archetypes and how this affects us. I really want to highlight, and we cannot do it enough in 10 minutes in an interactive workshop. This model goes way beyond fairy tales and advertisement and messages. So if you want to use it as a storyteller, great, and be aware of the complexity. Careful, for example, if you depict something dark, careful about the implications it can have on your audiences, especially if you're in youth services, but not only. We need to have a trauma-informed approach in our services. I would say everybody. So we need to be really, really careful about the audiences that we work with. If you're using it for storytelling, if you use it for education work, even more. Be aware, do not trivialize it. Be aware of the implications. Be there to mediate the messages. Even Disney, in these innocent movies, can propagate stereotypes or visions of the world that are toxic or not inclusive or not maybe what we want to see in the future. And the big media corporations are trying to change the messages, but we as citizens, educators, national agency officers, we have a huge role in how we do it. So be very careful how you craft your stories and how you choose the different elements. By the way, the hero's journey can also be used for evil, I would say. If you think about it, this is the story of colonialism. This is the story of imperialism. Yeah, I see something that I like, I go out, I defeat everybody else, and I bring it home. Done. So this has been used by totalitarian governments as propaganda to promote race, to promote the myth of the chosen people. This is very dangerous. So let's be aware of the complexity. And before we jump into the ending, I do not think this is the original message of the story. The original message of the story is I go through an adventure so that I grow as a person, and I realize whatever I found, I need to bring it to something else or somebody else other than me. This is very important and very deep. I always end my presentations with this. The next part will be, what do I do with the treasure I found? And it's crucial because now is when the hero becomes a hero. If you are familiar with the Lord of the Rings, in the Lord of the Rings, you have Frodo and Sam. If you're not familiar with the Lord of the Rings, okay, there are two small guys and they have to deliver a ring into a volcano. Don't ask me why, but it's bad. So it's not easy and they go through a lot of stuff and it's not easy, but in the end they do it. That is the Lord of the Rings. The two guys are called Frodo and Sam, and it's not easy to tell who's the protagonist. They're probably both. But the way they end the journey is very different. Sam goes back to his hometown, and he becomes a leader of the community, a politician. And he makes a lot of babies because he marries the woman he always loved. So he really brings it back because he thinks, without my community, I could never become a hero in the first place. And that's the beauty of Sam in The Lord of the Rings. On the other hand, you have Frodo, who tries and he goes back and he cannot fit in anymore. And I know you've had the experience in your life of having a transformative experience, then going back home and finding, oh my God, this is not my home anymore because I have changed. This happens with European volunteers. I've used this model for volunteer training for many, many, many years, and it resonates so strongly, right? But Frodo is a hero because he doesn't blame the others for his change. You know that feeling when you go back after volunteering and you start blaming everybody else because they are boring? That's not what a hero is like. The hero accepts that they have changed. And they are on a different journey now. Everybody is on a different stage on many journeys. This is the deep message. It's a message of compassion and empathy, if we know how to craft it. So the heroes who don't complete the ordeal, they are defeated. Maybe they are consumed by the power of the treasure. And you have so many archetypes. You have Darth Vader in Star Wars. You have Gollum in The Lord of the Rings. They are consumed by the treasure. They cannot handle it. They will fall and they become the fallen angel, which is an archetype, you know, Lucifer, or the Minotaur, and they have to be defeated by another hero later on. But those who do complete, they go to the next stage of the journey, which we will now watch, and it's the end of the story. So let's go back to the, and first of all, again, I want to ask if you, because this was a big chunk of information, how are you resonating with it? If people are typing or if people are ready to just talk, I'll be happy to hear. Mariana, still processing. Yeah, I know. At the end, I will recommend a bibliography on the Padlet and also some articles I wrote on the topic many years ago. And this is just the beginning.
I can just say that once you hear the hero journey, then every Hollywood movie you can you can really understand how it is structured. And yeah, it is quite useful, although it is, as you said, very complex if you want to use it. So it needs a lot of practice.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I will say more later. I'm still unsure how to develop the topic into storytelling. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. So after the presentation, I will give you an interactive task. So we will see how to do that. And it's a little bit what Aspasia mentioned. It's everywhere already. When you turn the TV on and you see a TV show or an advertisement or video games or movies, or when you read a fairy tale, children fairy tales are full of this. You see it there. So it has been used a lot. So our job is now, after we understand, our job is now, how do we use it? And we will do that step later on. So for now, let's go back to the video and we watch the end, and then we continue. Boom. So this is how the journey ends. After and only if the heroes have negotiated their way through the challenge, they go back home. And again, going back home can have many different meanings. Sometimes people ask me, do I really need to go back home? No, the point is to go back, though, complete the circle. And then there is a stage which is very important, which is transformation. It can be used in many other terms, resurrection, death, and rebirth. But what is important is transformation. So the experience I just had needs to lead to some change so that a new beginning can happen. And then return. Joseph Campbell used it very nicely with the return with the elixir. So I find the magic potion that my people needed, and I bring it back. Whatever this is, new information, new knowledge, new awareness, kindness, or money, a lot of money. So this is how to complete the journey. Again, it can take so many different shapes in traditions. And I once again want to share how profound it is. So when we use it, we need to be very, very careful. The resurrection, especially, it's key because it brings change into the world. It's not necessary to go back home, as I said, but it is important to complete the circle because, and this is the last bit I'm going to say, it is easy to get lost. Journey people can get lost, and we can get lost in both sides of this journey. We can get lost in the ordinary world, which means we never even leave. We don't go anywhere. We are busy, busy, busy. We have bills to pay. We have children to feed. We have project deadlines. We're busy, busy, busy. We can't go. That, my friends, lead in psychoanalytical terms to burnout. We die one little bit every day. We don't develop a magic world. We don't develop fantasy, hobbies, passion, and we die before our time. But it is also easy to get lost in the other world, in the magic world. And then, we stop worrying about politics. We stop worrying about bureaucracy. We stop worrying about money because we're too busy having fun being in our own magic world. That is also dangerous. Because, as they say, if you don't worry about politics, politics will worry about you. So it is important to combine, and only the heroes that complete the journey will go and become the hero of the two worlds, which is the final archetype. It's the final card in the tarot. If you're familiar with the cards of the tarot, they end with 22, the major arcana, which is the world. It's everything. The final archetype is the hero of the two worlds who is able to move across dimensions. Harry Potter or Neo in the Matrix, they are able to move across dimensions now, and they know that the reality is fantastic, but also that fantasy can be real. And that is the final stage of the hero journey, which is not final, because then a new journey begins. So don't think about it as a circle, but as a spiral that keeps going in 3D. Now, I know this is a lot, and it's very deep, and I'm just hinting at, complexity without giving you time to process or just opening windows. But now I want to put it in practice with you. Knowing that this is used every day in communication, in advertisement, Hollywood movies, and so on, I now want to give you, yes, let's do 10 minutes. So we include a little break. It's important to also stretch the body and move. Take 10 minutes and think about a story that you know of a civic participation story. So not fairy tales. We don't go into fantasy now, but real civic participation stories that somehow would conform to this model. The only task you have, the story must be possible to share in 3 minutes. So not something incredibly long, but you have to have a concentrated version in 3 minutes. So for now, I have 3 stories, which is just as well. So I will create now 3 groups. So people are now in breakout rooms. They are sharing stories quickly. And you can choose room 1, 2, or 3. They have more or less the same number of people, so you can just choose one. Now about the feedback. The point is to consider the 4 at least these 4 stages. I will once more share my screen. When crafting a story, at least consider the 4 stages. Call to action. What issues sparked the need for action? Conflict. Life is full of conflict, so we face it and our heroes face it too. Transformation and impact. And then finally, you know, the resurrection part, how can these inspire change? If you're even just touching these 4 buttons, we supercharge our storytelling with the hero's journey. And this goes a lot deeper, as I'm sure you understand, but we are touching on very old and very ancient elements that are part of our collective unconscious. When I say transformation, you all know. When I say old wise man, you all know. When I say finding the magic ring or defeating the dragon, we all know. That's collective unconscious. So you can supercharge your storytelling by touching on these elements. You don't need to go through the whole journey. And I also said, be very careful of the implications. These can be used simply, but this goes very deep. So if you want to use it, read about it, watch video essays, join more workshops, because the learning simply never ends. I added to the resources one article I wrote 10 years ago, and there are many, many links and books to read. But if you just Google search it or on YouTube, you will find so much more. Conclusion, we also had prepared reflection questions, but we were pressed for time. So I will just share the questions for you. How can storytelling and memes increase civic participation? That was the main question we had today. Can storytelling and memes increase civic participation? And what makes a story compelling? My hope is that by sharing tools, working on memes, and then going deep into the hero's journey, we did touch on these questions. And now I want to really leave you at least 2 minutes for feedback. You can type it in Padlet. There is a whole section on feedback and comments. I would love to hear it, read it from you. How was this for you? What is your main takeaway? You can also type it here in the Zoom chat, or you can open your microphone and just say it out loud. How was this session for you? What are you taking away from this? And I love very much that there is a full story now written and formatted in the 12 stages, the Narela story. Who wrote it? Stefania, fantastic work, completely formatted.
Well, I use ChatGPT, so he takes the credit as well.
Hey, great. It's your assistant, right? Thank you, Paola. It was interesting, and I reflect on what to understand how to apply it to my job. I'd love to chat about the hero journey. So reach out, find me on social media or whatever there is. I'm easy to find, and I'd love to chat about it. Really good, a lot to think about and stories to come up with. Thank you very much. Great exercise. Thank you, Daniel. And then exactly.
Question in the meantime?
Sorry, Stefania?
Could I ask a question in the meantime?
Yes.
Because storytelling, they are really, really useful tools, but they also can take a long time to go through all the process, also when we share it with the audience. And I'm only wondering how to tackle this, considering the low attention span of people, especially when they watch on social media video. Usually they don't go all throughout the video.
I can tell you what I do. I invite people for step by step. Memes are an instant form of communication. So if that works with your groups, then try that first. A video can be broken down in 3 minutes sections. And You don't need to be a video maker. You can look on Instagram or YouTube and find shorts. So if the attention span is changing, then, you know, we need to work with the crowd. We need to work with the room. It is possible. It's just more work from our side, but it is possible to craft the stories so that they reach the audience. But I really, and I did it today, for example, I really want to pay attention to, by cutting, we cannot lose the fundamental points of the story, because that's a danger. Then when we only sell the skin without selling the essence, and that's, I believe, a disservice to the message. So yeah, not easy, not easy. That's a question for GPT, by the way. I mean, we do have these super assistants now, so they can help our work as well.
I can also maybe comment on that. We also here at Herodesk Brussels Link, because of the short attention span, we also try all of our stories to make them fit for TikTok, Instagram Reel in less than 2 or 3 minutes. What we realize is that we need to make them fast, quick, be catchy from the first very second, so we can get the attention. And sometimes if something needs to be longer, we split it, maybe 2 videos, 3 videos, and so on. But indeed, sometimes it can be a challenge to tell a story in I don't know, in just 2 minutes.
Thank you, Stefanos. Yes. And then I see the story of Jane Goodall also appeared on Padlet. Very good.
I can comment also something on Stefania's. I'm not saying that we are always managing to do so, but if we listen carefully to the needs of our target audience, everybody wants to be happy. And actually, this is where the Hollywood stories are based. They get our attention because we feel empathy about the hero, because they want to be happy, but they don't know how. So if we are trying to catch the attention of the public, it means that we need to know what will make them happy. So then we can build the story on that. I don't know if I made myself clear in such a short time, but yeah, I mean, we need to listen to their wills and aspirations and problems. And this way, maybe our stories can resonate more with them.
Thanks. Thanks. I'm also replying to a comment I see on Padlet about a live, like an example by the story, by the facilitator, which I guess it's me in this case. And it's really something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to put myself under the spotlight and say, this is the story, because I also believe story is a form and not format. I don't want to format you into one way of doing things, but I wanted to show you how the map is. And if you follow the map, it can take you wherever you want to go. I really want to empower people to go and tell the stories. You cannot break storytelling. You can only enrich it. And of course, there's a lot of technical things to learn. So maybe that's a follow-up workshop. Thank you very much, whoever wrote the comment. I'm looking at the time. First of all, you're staying extra, you know? So when it works, and your audience will find you. And yeah, we do have short attention span, but when we do find something we like, we spend the time and the attention. Any other comment? Aha, thank you, Daniel, for sharing the Padlet link. Fantastic. Daniela, thank you for this reflection. In small communities, it's easy to find the heroes locally. Thank you. Yeah, and I think spotting the heroes is one of our challenges, and it's not necessary to look for epic ones. Great comment. Ivana, thank you very much. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you, Danielle. Everybody, stay in touch. I'd love to hear from you how you use stories, and this is my favorite topic ever.